Tucked into the Aravalli Hills sits Bhangarh Fort, recognized as the most haunted place in India. Millions travel here yearly, drawn by a reputation for paranormal terror that permeates the entire valley. The most compelling evidence for this danger stands at the main gate, an official warning board from the Archaeological Survey of India, strictly forbidding entry after sunset. According to local folklore, this fear stems from a dark tantric named Singya. Singya tried using a magical love potion to ensnare a local princess named Ratnavati. When the princess realized the trick, she threw the potion away. The vial shattered against a boulder, which then magically rolled over and crushed Singya, prompting him to cast a death curse on the entire city as he died. The physical consequence of this folklore is visible everywhere you look. A once thriving city of 9,000 homes was instantly reduced to roofless ruins. To this day, locals claim that any roof built over these structures will immediately collapse. Despite these myths, thousands of modern visitors report experiencing genuine physical panic within the walls. They hear phantom screams, feel sudden chills, and see shadows darting between stones. But the foundation of this haunting falls apart the moment you look at the historical record. Neither Princess Ratnavati nor the Tantric Singya exist in any verified contemporary documents or stone inscriptions. If the figures central to the curse never existed, we have to explain why visitors continue to report physical and psychological distress when they enter the ruins. Solving the mystery of Bhangarh requires us to move past ghost hunting and instead apply the principles of physics, biology, and human psychology. To understand the physical symptoms reported by tourists, the sudden anxiety, the nausea, and the feeling of being watched, we have to look at how the body reacts to the environment. This diagram shows how sound wave frequencies interact with the human body. When a sound wave drops below the 20 Hz line, it enters a range called infrasound. In the 1980s, an engineer named Vic Tandy discovered that while the human ear cannot hear infrasound, the human nervous system physically feels it as a subtle, continuous vibration. Looking at this expanded view, we can see exactly how Bhangarh naturally generates these specific frequencies. The wind funneling through the jagged, roofless stone corridors acts like a giant flute. Combine that with the region's frequent minor seismic shifts beneath the ruins, and you have an environment constantly emitting infrasound. That covers the chills and nausea, but there's still the matter of the visual hallucinations, the shadow figures people swear they see in the corners of the fort. This is likely the result of an evolutionary survival trait called pareidolia. Pareidolia forces the human brain to automatically search for familiar patterns, specifically facial structures and human shapes, in random, chaotic imagery or shadows. When you walk through a decaying stone ruin at twilight, your nervous system accurately detects the low-frequency physics of the wind. Your brain feels that physical vibration, recognizes a threat, and uses pareidolia to project a human shape into the shadows to explain the sensation. Still, tourists and locals alike point to one piece of evidence that seems impossible to debunk: the distinct echoing sounds of women crying and screaming in the dead of night. The answer lies directly over the surrounding hills. Bhangarh Fort sits just 50 kilometers away from the dense wildlife population of the Sariska Tiger Reserve. Those eerie screams drifting over the walls aren't coming from restless spirits. They're the nocturnal calls of the striped hyena population hunting in the dark. The sudden rustling in the canopy and the sounds of movement overhead are simply the local monkey population settling into the trees for the night. This local ecology explains the infamous ASI warning sign. It is a strict administrative safety protocol against apex predators like Bengal tigers and leopards wandering into the ruins, combined with the hazard of navigating collapsing architecture in the pitch black. The danger of staying overnight at Bhangarh is entirely physical. It is driven by apex biology and structural gravity, not by the supernatural. But what about the people who visit on calm, windless days when the animals are completely silent, yet still leave completely terrified? This brings us to the psychological concept of suggestibility. Researchers at Goldsmiths University tested this directly in an experiment known as the Haunting Project. This chart breaks down the exact fear responses recorded during the experiment. Notice how marginal the difference is between the hidden frequency equipment being turned on or off. Now look at the third bar. When subjects walked into the room with a pre-existing belief that the space was haunted, their fear response spiked massively higher than those who were simply exposed to the physical triggers. Modern tourists arrive at Bhangarh already heavily primed by watching YouTube videos, social media algorithms, and local legends. Their brains are actively looking for a haunting before they even step through the gate. Bhangarh's haunting is a synthesis of these forces: social media priming the expectation, infrasound triggering the body's alarm system, and pareidolia providing the visual shape to fear. The actual, documented history of Bhangarh's ruin involves a shift in regional political power followed by a devastating climate event. In 1783, northern India was struck by the Chalisa famine. It was a drought so severe that it completely decimated the region's water supply, leaving the residents of Bhangarh with no choice but to abandon their 9,000 homes and flee in search of water. We cling to the myth of the sorcerer's curse because it offers a narrative with a clear cause and effect. A severe drought is a depressing, uncontrollable tragedy of nature that provides no such closure. There is also a significant modern economic incentive to keep the curse alive. The title of India's most haunted place sustains the local economy, driving millions of tourists to a site that might otherwise be forgotten. Scientific inquiry provides a lens through which we can appreciate Bhangarh's ruins as an intersection of human history, natural physics, and the intricacies of our own psychology.